what we did is we approached people who were here in Kobe during that time, like Fukuoka Sensei and
Imaimat, mosquito, and malaria. So now that I had the opportunity.
So I'll tell you why, because that is where the problem of my research lies.
So here you have a bounding bookshop.
This is the stepper motor. This is the stepper motor.
You can share for all of us.
So anyway, congratulations on your great achievement. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Paul. I am a graduate student from Kobe Institute of Computing, studying Masters of Information Systems, Innovator course. So my research is all about the development of agricultural early monitoring prototype. I'm doing this in order to mitigate the non-performing loans, which is the problem facing financial institutions in Tanzania, my country. So this is how I will do. I will take you through the introduction, problem, analysis of the problem, and what I propose as a solution to solve that. And then I will go back to seek to realize the socio-economic values of my proposed solution when it is implemented. So let's start with the introduction. So what is Tanzania? Tanzania is an East African country in which Mount Kilimanjaro is found. Not only that, but also rich in nature and history. But the country is eager for economic development, and it is the most populated in East Africa, with 54.7 million people according to the World Bank in 2017. But 65% of these people are farmers. And let's forget about the Tanzania itself, let's focus on these farmers. 90% of these farmers are the ones who get loans from the banks, but the rest are not. And that is where my concern was, and I came up with this research in my graduate studies. So what is the social issue associated with this problem? You know, smallholder farmers in Tanzania aspire to open small businesses, kiosks, sending kids to school, even improving their housing standard. But most of the time they do not achieve. Because according to Deloitte and the financial sector deepening trust and institution in Tanzania, 30% of these farmers completely depend on agriculture for their income, and 50% agriculture complements into their income. So smallholder farmers, in order to do agriculture, they need resources and tools. But where do they get resources and tools? They need capital, they need fund to obtain these resources and tools. And according to the World Bank, the source of funds for these farmers remains friends, relatives, selling crops, selling livestock, or mobile loans. These means are unreliable. The only one means which is reliable is the banks. But unfortunately, the banks have lost appetite into the agricultural loan product. And I will tell you why they have lost appetite, because that is where the problem of my research bases. So, see, this is the share of all the loans which were provided in Tanzania by 2017. And only 70% of all these loans were given to the agriculture sector. Remember, 65% of people in Tanzania are farmers, but they obtain only 70% of all loans. But unfortunately, 17% of the loans which were not paid back were coming from this sector. So you see, this is not very good in the eyes of shareholders of these institutions, of these banks. This is a loss. And unfortunately, banks are not resilient to stand with this for so long. But it has been keeping going like this for the next quarter of the same year, where 26% of all loans which were not paid, which were not repaid into the banks, were coming from agriculture. The same situation in the next quarter, only 6% of the loans were given to the farmers, but 29% of all loans which were not paid back were coming from this sector. So this shows the seriousness of the problem, and so we gotta do something to help the bankers from this trap. They have to provide loans to the agriculture in a way, because agriculture is the sector which is embraced by the government of Tanzania for economic development promotion. So that's why I just kick off the solution to help these bankers by my research. I tried to analyze, to investigate what are the root causes of the problem. And I found that many studies showing that there are various root causes: fund diversion, illiteracy, fraud, and so many. These were found not only in Tanzania, but also in African Development Bank, in Bangladesh, in Ethiopia, and so many studies have shown the same. But one research from Nayan and Idris, they just found that most of the studies, they just given attention to other causes of the loans, of the bad loans, but less attention has not given to one root cause, the role of monitoring. And according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, these financial institutions, they are just impose very costly regular monitoring of borrowers. So it is very costly. And I will tell you why it is very costly. And because it is costly, it makes it inefficient. For example, this is a real case in Tanzania, where we have two towns, Ushirombo and Kahama. Between these two towns, one town is where there is a lot of banks, and the other town is where there is a lot of farmers. So the bankers need to travel from one town to another to do monitoring, which is 8 kilometers away from one another, as you can see. So this is cost inefficient. There is a fuel cost for transportation and all other associated transportation costs. Not only that, but what you can see on the background of this slide, there is a problem of transportation infrastructure in Tanzania, and this makes it difficult for those loan officers to travel for monitoring. And that's why I say we gotta do something, and I am going to do it. So they need to go back and forth every day to do the monitoring. So here at KIC, we have something called the Tankyu Chart. Tankyu Chart is derived from the Tankyu Practice. Tankyu Practice is a step-by-step method just that help us to analyze and come up with ICT solution to solve socio-economic problems. It originates here at KIC, my university. So I just investigated if there is an increase of non-performing loans, what if we improve monitoring so that to mitigate non-performing loans? Of course, it is one cause, but if we just solve this one problem, we can at least reduce, we can bring it into the lower level as possible. So here at KIC, our catchphrase is social innovation by ICT and Yourself. Oh, this time is myself. So this is my proposed solution. As we have seen all these challenges in Tanzania, why don't we use aerial imagery? I mean, remote sensing technology, the satellites from satellite companies, and do monitoring. Acquire the information that is needed for loan officers to make their decision to provide the loans. And replacing the people with machine learning technologies. And because in financial sector, the bankers are already eager. They want to see machine learning is helping them into their activities. So applying machine learning into monitoring can be a very interesting technology that bankers really wish to see these technologies is applied into their programs. So if we do this, that means we will transform the entire process of loan provision. This flowchart is showing you how the procedures of providing the loans in Tanzania. So first of all, a client applies the loan to the bank. Then the bank doing the monitoring and assessment procedures. After that, then they decide, they're making approval if the client deserves the loan. And then they give them 100% of the loan. But in this solution, we'll have to transform this entire process. instead of going for assessment, loan officer will collect the geo coordinates of the client's farm field. And then the banks will just submit those geo coordinates to a third-party company, which will be responsible for doing monitoring. And so this application, which for initial prototype I call it ALMIS, Agricultural Monitoring Information System, will just perform planting analysis or planting prediction. At planting prediction, the system will try to predict by using machine learning models to predict if the farm field is ready for planting. And if it is not ready, the loan will be rejected. When it is ready, then the loan will be distributed into 2 portions. This is the same technique applied into the students' loans, we all know. So the first 50% of the loan will be provided in the beginning of the farming. That means when the farm field is ready for planting. And when the progress in the farm field has just gone far, then the client will apply again for the rest of the loan. So the system will look, is the farm field at vegetative phase? And if the model predicts that the farm field is at a vegetative phase, then the loan will be provided. Otherwise, the rest of the loan will not be provided. That means probably the farmer did not go to cultivate. And that, if that is the case, then the loan will not be provided. So this is simply how it will be working. So you see, we are having the ALMIS server. ALMIS means Agro-loan Monitoring Information System. I just decided to call that my prototype. And so it will be serving these banks with a monitoring service. And these banks, when they do monitoring, they will grab the information, the prediction made by the system, into their core banking system. And so that's how monitoring will simply be done. So to start with, I just developed a simple prototype in our lab, as you can see on the picture. I have a one video, please bear with me. I can show you how it works. So you see here in the lab, we have our own simulation of the farm field, whereby we set a satellite as a USB camera, and the system has been enabled with machine learning technique, the neural network model. So when the camera sees the farm field, it knows if it is at vegetative phase or if it is at planting phase. So as you can see, it will automatically calculate the loans. It will divide the loans into 2 portions, and it will tell the bankers that the client will deserve only 50% of the loan, whether it is the first portion or the last portion of the loan. So this is how it will be done instead of traveling a very long far. So what is behind this application? Actually simple, it is a machine learning. In machine learning, we have layers, the image passing through the layers. These layers, they have 2 parts, features extraction and classification. In features extraction, that means when the model receives the image, it will try to extract the features on those images, and then the next stage is classification. It will decide these features are close to which class, planting or vegetative, and that is why it provides you with the report that this is planting or this is vegetative. So that is how it will be working. But we have 2 stages only. We can have even more stages depending on the growth stage of any crop in the future. To start with, I have 2 classes or categories. So in the future work, now I need to collaborate with satellite companies like Axospace, Planet, Maxa, or Airbus that will be providing the real imageries from the ground rather than the simulation of my farm field in the lab. So that is the future work to be done in our lab by myself, but here at KIC, anyone can take over a project of another student. So I just got to verify my solution idea with the loan officers from Tanzania. So this is what they think. Of course, 90% of them, they think that a prototype was just a good, what is just a good prototype, which try to explain the cutting edge technology which will help them. But also, 70% of them believe that this will improve the effectiveness and efficiency of monitoring. And 80% believe that by deploying such a solution in production environment, it will help them to reduce non-performing loans. So this is a very good sign from loan officers, which shows that this solution is very likely to be a solution to the social problem I'm trying to solve. So, if this is true, that means the time of monitoring and the cost will be saved. And so, the non-performing loans for agriculture will be reduced by 50% minimum. And we will no longer having agriculture sector as a disproportionate, as it's just like a shame, the only sector which is just giving a big loss into the banks. So it will be at least proportional with other sector. And this is important because when there is a less loss, that means bankers will just expand their marketing campaigns to reach more farmers. And as they reach more farmers, that means these smallholder farmers, they will meet their aspiration. And this is important because the economists believe that access to credit service will help the economic growth. And according to International Fund for Agriculture Development, we believe that agriculture is 11 times more effective to reduce extreme poverty in sub-Saharan Africa. Thank you, that's it. You can see here at KIC, these are my other achievements, other activities I was doing at KIC. I was also lucky to complete an online course from University of Helsinki and the presentation to some satellite companies. Thank you so much for your attention. Arigatou gozaimashita.